Today's video, we're going to talk about how to get hundreds of 5-star reviews every single time you want to get it for a new business that you're starting up. Guaranteed, no problems at all. The no joke method to be able to do this. Now, I've made videos before on this channel about how to get more reviews for your business, but it doesn't match up to anywhere near what this particular Mac Daddy golden overarching method will do. Okay, if you want to get the most reviews, you want to use this particular strategy right here. I found this out, of course, just talking to clients. At our agency, I'm doing the strategy with clients, figuring out what ads we want to run. Part of getting money from having and running ads is to get your reviews going. Your reviews are going to help your ads convert better. Of course, I mentioned, how reviews are going to help your organic, of course, as well, even though we don't manage that. And then I had, we have clients telling me what they do for reviews. And a lot of it, kind of heard of it before. It's not that great. But this one took the cake. I thought it was brilliant. So I'm going to share exactly what that is today here on this video so you can use it for yourself. But before I do, if you do not know who I am yet, I am Corey Zyman, owner of Guaranteed PPC, an online advertising agency that specializes in guaranteeing results for their clients. That is, we do not charge our clients management fees until we can get them a certain minimum lift in the profitability, basically in excess of the management fees that we charge. And for that matter, we are the only agency out there who offers any similar guarantees, which should tell you something about the quality of the information that I'm sharing with you in today's video. So with that said, getting into the content. Now, here is the method right here to be able to get the hundreds of reviews for your business. This assumes you got hundreds of customers coming in. Just want to put that out there up front. But, if you got, the way that this works is, and I've got this mapped out here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-step plan. You get your customers. Then, once you get your customer, that customer gets put into a CRM/Google Sheet. That Google Sheet goes to a call center agent. Ideally, you outsource it to a different country, Philippines being pretty much the best. This is what the individual I work with did. Great English skills, decent rate for, getting the work done on a regular basis. And so what happens is this call center agent gets this new name that shows up on a Google Sheet, which then shows up for them. Now they're on a sheet to call for and ask for an actual review. The call center agent asks when they call the individual, their experience of that product or service that they got. So this could actually also work for e-commerce companies as well, not just regular service companies, like home service companies or service companies in general. And what they do is they say, basically, hello, John. Hey, I saw that you got your delivery of your brand new gun cabinet. What did you think of it? I just wanted to make sure everything went all right for you. And if you had any questions, comments, or complaints about that so we could get it fixed. You let them talk. Then at the end of the conversation, you say, first of all, if there's anything I could do to help, expand what your experience is, let me know. Like, for instance, you have a question that we didn't answer in the instruction manual that we sent or something like that, we'll get back to you. And then once you're done with all that, while this is going on and they're blabbering on, basically, the call center agent is going to type up what the user basically said about their experience. And when it's a good experience, assuming you get good experiences from your customers 90% of the time, which you should, because otherwise you got to fix your operations. Then at the end of that, all of that I just described, and the call center agent types in the user's experience in a text form, they're going to ask, by the way, John, or Frank, or whoever it is, can I send this to you in a text message or in an email so that you can go ahead and post this on our Google My Business, Trustpilot, wherever you want to get a review at ultimately, which naturally your best bet is to get reviews in different places so that when somebody Googles, name of your company and then reviews after it on Google, they're not going to see good reviews from just Google, but Google, Trustpilot, Yelp, and that is the most convincing of all because people do this right before they buy, particularly when they're going to spend bigger amounts of money. They want to see that your search result is clean before they plunk down their money. And they're going to do that 10, 20% of the time if you're selling something at least for a few $100s, if not thousands. We know this because we've done a study on how much bad reviews affects your sales, and we deducted that's about how many people are ultimately doing this. It'd be interesting to do a study to actually survey people and ask how often you look at reviews before you buy, but that's got to be about what it is. And so you send it to them, and then of course what the user's going to do, just like if you had a sales staff member, which I've talked about in other videos, they ask the customer for a review after, the job is done, or if you will. They're going to say, yeah, I'm more than happy to leave that review, because at the time it sounds nice, right? You helped me. It was nice that you called, asked me how things went and everything, but I'm lazy. I'm busy. I'll tell you that I'll leave the review just to get you off the damn phone, with the intention of, as soon as you're off the phone, I had no intention of leaving that review. So then what happens is, after you text it, after you email, that call center agent's just going to keep calling until the review is basically left. It doesn't matter if it takes 30 calls, 50 calls, 100 calls. I mean, it basically only costs, if you use a call center and a dialing agent or software, you can have a speed dialer which calls 3 people at once. And the way that it works is as soon as one person picks up, the calls to the other 2 numbers, it hangs up, which is why you once in a while get calls and it's like dead air. So that the call center agent that you hire to do this for $500 a month, which is about what it would cost for a Filipino call agent that can speak good enough English to do this job appropriately, they're going to be talking to somebody when they hang up. They're immediately going to be talking to someone else. They hang up, they're immediately going to be talking to someone else. Or at least at most, there'll be 30 seconds of dead or downtime between calls. And then you have the call software set up where you disposition it, where it's, if they put in there, like, I'll do it later or whatever, you disposition it, it goes back into the queue, so that automatically a couple days later, that person gets back into the call list to call again. And it just keeps going back into the queue, back into the queue, back into the queue until they finally left the review. And then once they disposition it as review left, if you will, or ultimately you have a secondary third-party person, or it could be the same person, that once a day checks for new reviews and then takes the people off the list that left the review already, to clean up the list and get it consolidated down to just the customers who haven't left the review yet. But then, but the idea is that you set up the call center so that one person can call a list of 500 names at any given time. And that they can, when you have the call software set up that way, they can call 5 to 10 people an hour. And so even though you might have 3, 4, 5 customers a day, it doesn't matter, because one person can easily handle calling a person up to 50 different times to be able to get that review placed. And the best way to handle it, by the way, once they've been asked to leave the review, that you've texted it to them, the call center agents texted it to them, and they haven't left the review within 48 hours, call a second time. And you say, hey, I texted it to you. You said you were going to leave the review. Is there something wrong? Did you not get it? You stop there and you wait for them to respond. Of course, they're going to feel guilty for not leaving the review, even though they said that they would, to this nice, pleasant sounding, innocent sounding girl itself, which is, I would recommend a female for this, because they're going to be more guilty feeling in that case. Then they'll probably say, yeah, I'll leave the review. And then they're still not going to do it. And then the third time they call, then they're going to really feel guilty. And you get the point. There's a point in which they're going to want to leave the damn review, so you stop calling them, which you may be saying, whoa, Corey, I don't want to do this. There's no way I want to piss off my customers, because then they are not going to want to do business with me in the future. Well, obviously, if you don't typically sell your product or service to the same people more than once, then you call them 100 times if is necessary. And if they get pissed, you got to be aggressive to get these reviews. There's no doubt about it. If you're wondering how some of these companies have 1,000 reviews, they're not doing this by randomly asking for reviews and asking once, and you got to have a system and you got to drill it in. But I get what you're saying about your concerns about maybe pissing people off so they don't want to do business with us anymore. For that matter, though, the individual I was talking about, they don't have anybody that gets really pissed off, so pissed that they're not going to do business with them anymore. And if they do, it was because they were mediocre or wishy-washy about your service or product in the first place. it in and itself is not going to stop somebody from wanting to do business with you. It's just like the guys who say, I all the time at our firm, run ads for clients, and we get people to fill out a form, and I tell people you have to follow up the people who fill out a contact form at least 15 times in order to get the full value out of your form leads, and you got to be able to respond within 15 minutes. People don't listen. They want things to be easier. They want to be able to respond when they want, but more importantly, as it ties to this, they only want to respond. We literally had clients that literally would get the form lead, they'd call it once, and if they didn't answer, they immediately deleted the lead. I mean, yes, they did do this, respectively, and they do this because they don't, I guess, want to annoy people, partially lazy, but that's not how you make money with your leads. You make 25% of the money that you can make doing that versus, following up 15 times, because the average person's not going to answer the phone the first time you call them. Let's say at least, we'll say 30, if you'll make like a third of the amount of money you could make otherwise, or maybe 30, 40%, which might be a bit more realistic. As it ties to, these reviews, you're not going to be able to get somebody to leave a review most of the time, even if you have had a conversation with them, even if they've said to leave the review without follow-up. For the most part, the average person, you're going to have to follow up at least once they already say they're going to leave a review to get them to leave the review. So if you only ask them once, you're only going to get like a third of the reviews than you would have got otherwise. It's the same thing with the form lead as people, go to your website and try to turn into a lead in the first place, as it is with this. So if you want to settle for a third of the amount of reviews, fine, as to not piss anybody off, but they're the ones who said that they would leave the review. They could have easily said, no, I don't want to leave a review. And then you'd be done with it. And you stop calling them legitimately. Once somebody says no, you leave them alone. But when they say, I don't know, or maybe, or yes, and then they don't do it, and you're not following up, you're just kicking your own ass, basically, at that point in time. For that matter, I think it's completely ludicrous to think you're annoying people if you ask them a second time after they said they were going to do something, when they could easily just at any time say, no, I'm not interested anymore. Stop contacting me. And then that would be the end of it, which you're kind of preying on people's good nature in that they don't want to tell somebody no, especially a younger girl, pleasant sounding girl. But the reality is, if it were easy to make money in business, everybody would do it. And the person who goes into the little bit of uncomfortable land, they're the ones that are going to make all the money. That's how it works. And, everybody, there's only so many customers out there. Whoever does more to get a customer and get the review, which gets customers, the more customers are going to get. And 80% of the people that are going to buy in a market are going to buy from 20% of the company. So do you want to be in the 20% or don't you? This is a channel about PPC advertising, where I talk about running ads on Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, running banner ads, and so forth. Basically any other online advertising that's out there that you can do, as well as landing pages that ties to that and tracking. I talk about that on this channel. If you want to become an absolute master at running ads for your business and to beat all your competition, so you are in that 20%, you got to subscribe to this channel, because I give you all that knowledge on this channel for free, it's way better than what you're going to find on other channels, because even though those other channels have fancier editing and lighting and all that stuff than I have maybe on this channel, the information's lacking, and it's because it's coming from people who don't really run any ads. They're not like myself, managing 50 different ad accounts at any given time and abreast of all the latest and greatest techniques that work, and I've been doing it over a decade. To give you the information on this channel, I literally have to spend my weekends sharing what I find what works during my 40-hour-a-week day job, just to be able to give you the quality information I'm giving you here. So if you're serious about making money with ads and that's your goal, or wanted to be your goal, subscribe to this channel. You'll get no better information elsewhere than what you'll find on this channel as a result. A great blog on my site also that you can follow with my strategies documented there. You can find that at guaranteedppc.com/blog. It comes with not only the instructions, but screenshots where, if you're more visual person, you can find all my graphics and so forth, or charts, everything there where I talk about my strategies and how well they work. Furthermore, if you have any questions about anything I talked about on this strategy, like there wasn't anything that was quite clear, or maybe you're going to tweak some of this, you want to ask, will it work for your market? Leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. You could have an American, if you're in the US, calling people and get a higher success rate in terms of the number of people who you ask to leave a review, we'll leave a review. The general numbers in terms of the results, if you have 100 customers, okay, and you're going to call all 100 customers because you got their contact information. What this particular company that we were working with found was you get reviews about 10 to 30% of the time, which is ultimately very high in the reviews world. So getting, for every 10 customers, you get 2 reviews. You're going to be up into hundreds of reviews rather quickly for any kind of even reasonably high volume business like cleaning services, carpet cleaning, even stuff like foundation repair, which you may only get 50 jobs a year, but in a few years you'll still already have hundreds of reviews for even a niche service in a single market. And this is with a Filipino call agent, which not to have anything to say against Filipinos, it's just when somebody's speaking in your own mother language or tongue, you're going to build more rapport with them than not. They're going to feel more comfortable with you. So this could easily get to be 30 to 50% if you had not only just an American talking to them and working the phones, but also somebody who's a good salesperson who knows how to build, who understands empathy, how to build rapport with somebody on the phone. Good. These are numbers just assuming you got somebody who's not a traditional salesperson that's overseas doing it. And mainly because you're going to be relentless with the follow-up. That's the key here. You can ask everybody for a review. When we're in a world where nobody wants to leave reviews, the follow-up is the key. And not just calling people up and saying, hey, would you leave us a review? Because people don't want to feel like they have to give you a review unless they first feel indebted to you, which is why you have to give them, make them feel like a human, a valued human being. Ask them, hey, how did you like your purchase? Did it get you the results you were looking for? Oh, that's not good. Maybe you should use it on this setting and you'll get better results. Try that out. For what experience you did have, would you be willing to leave us a good review? That makes all the difference in the number of reviews you're going to get at the end of the day from this. If you're going to use the offshore contractor to do this for whatever country you're going to hire from, whether it be Philippines or whatever, you can do better as well if you script the process. The guy that I was working with sort of scripted it, but in my opinion, it wasn't nearly as good as what it could be. You could come up with a word-for-word script instead of just saying, first ask them how the experience was, then ask them for the review, which is very rudimentary. You can instead have a script to build up the rapport at a very high level, then do the ask and end up with even more. So even with an offshore person, you could get this up to 30 plus if you really figured out and knew how to do like script writing, copywriting, create a really good script for that. And also even split test it to script, which you should ultimately be doing with this, given that reviews in your business are like liquid cash. The more reviews you get, the more your conversion rate is going to be on traffic coming to your site, which means more money for the same traffic, which means more money out of basically thin air. We've ran studies before, which I've got a video about this exact thing, where the more reviews you have, the more your conversion rates are going to be. And the big jumps are going from single digits to double digits reviews and double digits to triple digits reviews. Finally, triple to quadruple digits reviews. And each kind of jump gets you another plateau of results in terms of your conversion rates. Ultimately, the holy grail would be thousands of reviews, and not only just in one place, but several. But if you put this into action and you're doing, you got 500 customers a year, you can get up to that. It's not a type of thing where it's an instant get rich quick scheme, but if you take yourself from 10 reviews today to 300 reviews in, a couple of years from now, you can easily go from a conversion rate of 7-8% of the traffic that hits your site that turns into a lead that buys to, 10-12% easily, just for that one simple thing. So if you're making $100,000 a year in profit from your Google Ads traffic right now it's going to go to $150,000 in profit. So you made an extra $50,000 in profit a year just by spending an extra $500 a month, man the phones and call people up asking for reviews. So ultimately, if you will, you have over 1,000 or right around 1,000% return on investment on that call centers / agent's time, if you will. So this might be a little bit expensive for a brand new startup to do, which in that case, I would be doing it myself. But certainly once you get to where you're doing at least $500,000 and for sure $1 million a year in sales revenue, I'm going to be turning this on, as long as you're in a business that lends itself to getting reviews. For a business like ours, it's tough to get reviews. People aren't going to want to normally give it because they would give away that their can't PPC ads work, and they don't want nobody to know that. So it's a type of, like, just like if you sold boner pills, nobody wants to give a review for that. But if you're doing carpet cleaning, there's no reason why you shouldn't do this, because if you're going to work so hard to make your ads work and then not work hard to get the ads, the leads that you're getting to close, well, you're just making it harder on yourself than it needs to be. If you want somebody to help you set up a mechanism like this to absolutely wring out every dollar of value and profit out of this system and its impact on your business thereof, I can also, I would recommend you reach out to me at my agency at guaranteeppc.com, and I can talk to you about this. I can also tell you about 20 other things that you can do to increase the profitability of your company, specifically through running ads, making your ads work better, or starting up new ads that you aren't running yet. Talk that over as well. We guarantee you results on the ad campaign specifically, and if we don't get you a certain minimum lift in your profitability or to a certain level with it, there's no fee. So if you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at guaranteeppc.com, and we could talk about that. Beyond that, we also sell ad templates though as well. You work in a niche market that I've worked in already, we can certainly sell you the winning ad templates, landing page templates, campaign templates that work for your niche market already. And with that, you can literally copy paste the success that we've developed for a different client in a different city or country or state, and you get the same results for yourself without all the money, time, and effort it took for us to figure out how to finally get those results in the niche that you're in. And of course, we can tell you what results you're going to get with it up front because we've already ran ads in that space. We're currently running ads in that space in a different market. If you're interested in that, you can also reach out to me at our firm at guaranteeppc.com, and we can talk about what results we got in your niche market. And of course, I've been offering coaching, consulting here at our firm as well. So we've had guys that reach out, from this particular channel asking, "Hey Corey, why is my ads not working?" And in a 30-minute coaching session, I can tell them what to do and to get them unstuck. And that 90% of the time plus, I know what the issue is. They go ahead and remove the issue, and they're on track for growing their revenue again and or profit. If you would like that kind of service, you can just also reach out to me at my firm, and we can get you hooked up with that. But for that matter, this formula right here is the Mac Daddy formula. It's going to get you the most reviews that I personally know of to date. It will certainly get you a return on investment. As long as you're a company over a certain size, this isn't of a question. You put it into place, you are going to start making more money. With all that said, also, if you're looking for somebody that knows all these tricks, would like to institute them for you as well, ultimately, we've been investing in companies here as well. Over the last couple of years, we've invested several companies, invested into their ad spend, offering them free ad management services in exchange for a cut of the revenue at their company. So basically paid purely out of the increase in revenue in their business. So a company might be doing a couple million a year. We come in, we offer to invest 50 grand in cash into the business, into ad spend, do the ads for them. We'll take, but in exchange agreement, to take like 4% of the increase in revenue from then on, and we'll take that company up to 5, 10 million, and then keep going with it. And we've done this, and every company we work with, they were getting less pie, but a bit much larger pie as a result. If you're interested in that type of thing, we are taking applications for that as well and looking for deals that we can do. Reach out to me at our site as well at guaranteeppc.com. With that said, I'm going to wrap it up with that. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.
Remember when I said reviews was important during this video? Well, this video here tells you how to do it.